Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is on this look. I feel that so many of you are going to love this. If you follow me on other platforms, you already know about my Kate Sharma era, okay? You already know about the pretty pink rosy cheeks that I've been obsessed with and the more healthier looking skin that I've also been obsessed with. So of course I had to pop on here and give you guys a full detailed tutorial. I wanted to make this so detailed that you could come back and almost study this video over and over and over again until you perfect the look yourself. That is the vibe I was going for. So I really hope you find this so helpful. If you do, make sure you share it with a friend, bookmark it, come back to it, comment, go away, come back, comment, give me an update, give me your progress. I'm so invested in you guys getting this look because I love it so much. It makes me feel pretty, it makes me feel feminine, it just makes me feel like an angel. Rosy cheeks me. A portion of today's video is sponsored by Sky Cinema Club. You guys know I've worked with them before. Ongoing partnership. I watch stuff, I come on here and give my 2 cents about it. It's really that simple. I loved June when it came out in cinema, so of course I had to run it again when it came out on Sky. I will leave the trailer down below if you haven't watched it. In honor of June, today I'll be talking about 3 books I really love and I think would make incredible films. Theme of today's chit chat at the beginning. We're talking books we love and we're talking books that we love that would make incredible films. I repeated it for dramatic effects, but you get the vibe. I hope you love today's video. I would love to hear your thoughts on everything. If you're just a makeup person, give me your thoughts on that. If you love the book portion, let me know to add a little razzle dazzle on these videos, you know? I hope you enjoy it and I'll see you at the end. Hello. Okay, as you guys know, today we're doing another, oh, I feel like I'm lower today. What's going on? Oh, I am lower, okay. You guys know I'm part of Sky Cinema's film club and this month's film was June. If you guys haven't watched June before, it's essentially like a science fiction fantasy. It's based on another planet and I also think it's based in the future, so it's quite futuristic. It's very good. Sorry, I've already done my brows. I use the Makeup by Mario Master Hold Brow Gel. I've really been loving this lately. It really holds my brows like glue. Zendaya's also in it, but it was, the way they advertised it, I thought she'd be in it more. I'd be surprised if there isn't a sequel, but it was kind of set up in a way where she's gonna be a bigger character or she's gonna have more presence in the sequel. In this first one, her character was more, she was more introduced and she was definitely in it, but just not as much as you'd think. But it was still a very good film. Oscar Isaac is also in it. TMI, I used to have the biggest crush on him. I watched him in a film called 10 Years. It's really old. It had Channing Tatum. It had a whole bunch of really good casts, so I think that made me feel like the film was good. It wasn't, it just had a strong cast. Anyways, I really enjoyed June. So I watched it when it came out in cinema and of course now it's available on Sky Cinema. So I watched it again. It's so good. I just really like it. If you like science fiction, if you like fantasy, if you like futuristic-esque films, you'll really enjoy it. Yeah, definitely one to watch. It's a bit long. I don't think it needs to be as long as it is, but of course they're like setting up the story and setting up the planet and setting up the characters and all that really good stuff. In honor of June, this week I'm talking about books that I've read. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I've been in my books bag. I feel like I need to talk about this first because the base actually really needs my attention. If you don't care about books, feel free to skip past this bit. If you love books, then let's get to it. So if you follow me on Instagram, you know I've been really deep into my book reading bag. I've read so many books already this year, guys. Really been loving connecting with books again. So we've got Verity by Colleen Hoover, Silent Patient. The only one I actually have with me is Silent Patient because I've lent out Verity and I've also lent out Nearly All Men in Lagos Are Mad, which is by Dami Larray. She's a Nigerian author. And then we've got Silent Patient, which is by Alex Michael Leeds. And then we've got Verity by Colleen Hoover. So Silent Patient and Verity are both thrillers. And I feel like I should be doing something. I really should have left my brows to do at this point, but it's all good. I'm just going to, do you know what I will? I'll just prep my skin. So just remember that I've used this product. This is Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. Verity and Silent Patient are thrillers. And I love a good thriller. Thrillers are my favorite genre of films, to be honest. Psychological thrillers, true crime. I also love a good comedy. And then we've got Nearly All Men in Lagos Are Mad. So Nearly All Men in Lagos Are Mad is actually a collection of short stories. But all the stories are like after every story, you're just like, I need a minute to gather myself to process what I've just read. And they are based on real experiences of people that live in Lagos and date in Lagos. It's a great book. and it's a really easy read. You could probably finish it in one read. Silent Patient is, so there's a protagonist who is a therapist, and then there is the main character who the story revolves around, Alicia. She is an artist, and essentially one day she just kills her husband and never speaks again. The story follows the events that led up to that moment and then the fallout. It's a great read. I don't want to give too much away, but the only thing about Silent Patient is, which Verity doesn't, Silent Patient drags at some points. It's good enough to keep you going because you know there's something coming, but at some points you do think, is this really necessarily for the story? So sometimes my friend found it really difficult to read, but I really enjoyed Silent Patient. And then Verity, which is just, Verity is like a 9 out of 10 book for me. It's such a good book. It's a thriller. I would say it's a psychological thriller because I could not read it in the evening. I could not read that at night. I read it at night once and it basically was like keeping me up. So I really would not recommend reading it at night, but it's a very good book. I don't know what to say about giving too much about it away, but it's essentially about a young lady that gets a job finishing a series of books that have already been started by another author. Really famous, but for some reason she can't finish writing the series. It's like, for example, if J.K. Rowling got a ghostwriter to finish, oh, that is a very bad example. Sorry, don't mess with her, we don't mess with her, sorry. It's like if Stephanie Meyer's, is that her name? The young lady that wrote the Twilight series. It's like if, for example, she couldn't complete the series and then the publishers got another writer to essentially finish it for her. So the story follows this young lady and the journey, because I would say it's a journey that she embarks on when she decides to take on this role to finish the books for this author who happens to be one of her favorites. She's like a decorated author and is really, really big in the game. So she moves into this woman's house, and yeah, I won't say much more than that, but really Verity is an incredible book. You guys know I am not good at telling stories, but I do not want to ruin, I don't want to ruin the plot by saying something that I'm not sure is already said in the blurb. But yeah, those are my books that I would turn into films. Guys, I know a lot of you are loving the book recommendations. Let me know down below, what have been your favourite books to read lately? What books would you turn into films? And don't forget, you can check out June. That portion of today's video is sponsored by Sky Cinemas Club. June being a book that was, you know, adapted into a film. I thought it'd be cool to talk about some books that I've been reading lately. In order of how you should read it, I would say Nearly All Men in Lagos Are Mad because it's really, really easy to read. I would say Verity, that is an excellent book. I haven't read the end and I was still gripped. I read the end before I got to the end because everyone was hyping me up. So I was like, let me just, what is the big deal? So I kind of knew what was coming, but it still kept me gripped. And then lastly, so those two I've lent out. The only one I actually have with me is Silent Patient. Probably will lend that to someone. I love the whole like swapping books. But yes, I'll leave the trailer to June down below if you haven't watched it. If you have watched it, if you watched it in the cinema, let me know your thoughts. Because I know there was some mixed reviews when it came out, but I really, really enjoyed it. I really loved it. And that concludes the book portion. If you don't like books, I'm sorry. If you love books and you're anything like me, you'd have had a geek out just then. That's something that I would have done. Anyways, let's continue on to today's makeup. I recently posted a look on Instagram, then I posted it on TikTok, and you guys went absolutely mad for it. You went crazy for it, and it was so different to anything that I've ever done, but I saw a technique. So it's actually a sound on TikTok, but it is essentially a makeup artist red carpet technique. I can't remember whose voice is on the audio. I want to say makeup Ariel, but I'm not sure that it is. But it's essentially a makeup artist that does a lot of celebrities for red carpets, and they were given their tips on how they get that insane glass skin, amazing skin look on the red carpet. And I essentially copied it and I loved it. So I'm going to show you guys today. Of course, earlier, if you skip past that bit, earlier I applied my Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. So the first step of this routine, I'm going to try and be really detailed and be really slow. So the first step I use, I've already done my brows. Do you know what I will do? I should have done this when I was talking about the books. Oh God, why did I not do this when I was talking about, I should have cleaned up my brows when I was talking about the books. Duh. So guys, I'm just gonna clean up my brows real quick. Maybe it's even better for you guys to see this bit. Too Faced, Born This Way. Do you know what was very irritating right now? Too Faced, Born This Way has been out of stock. You know, it's been very, very difficult to get for some months now. I went on Cop Beauty this morning, as I do. I like to go on Cop Beauty. I see what's new in, what are the brands bringing out. So from time to time, I will go into Cop Beauty and I have a little gander at what's on. So I went on Cop Beauty and I saw that all of the colours had been restocked. I said, God is good. God is good, right? Why is Butterscotch the only colour not on there? Why is Butterscotch the only colour that is not on there? How can you restock the entire range and not restock Butterscotch, which is arguably one of the more popular shades? I definitely noticed from early doors, Butterscotch would typically be sold out. Bare Minerals concealer brush to do this. I really hope it's just a thing where they are working on the stock and they haven't discontinued Butterscotch, because if they've discontinued Butterscotch, there will be some real problems. But I have faith that perhaps they are just working on stock, because that will be a real silly mistake to make. I'm so pumped to get into today's base. Oh, it's going to be delicious. It is going to be absolutely delicious. This is such a nice, beautiful soft light as well, so you can really take in how stunning it's going to look. Brows. I get a lot of questions on my brows actually, so I just sculpt it with the concealer. Honestly, the brow gel is what makes a lot of the difference, because that's what sticks the hairs down. So make sure that you've got a good brow gel that really, you know, gets those hairs down, and it makes everything else so much easier. Because after this, I do very little to my brows. Most tedious process of the brows. I'm gonna go right ahead and set that underbrow area. This is my Huda Beauty Easy Bake in Banana Bread. This guy here, that one. Honestly, I probably talk about this product more than any ever. And for brush, I really love this brush. This is the E48 from Morphe. Excellent brush. This is also very good at setting your under eye. Love it. Right, the first step for this whole makeup artist routine, let me just take a sip of my coffee, please. I really thought I'd move past this whole... The first step of the routine is this bad guy. It's this guy right here. This, of course, the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. Now, the instructions isn't necessarily a Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. The instruction is just to use a hydrating primer. So I feel a lot of people either have this or they have Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. You can use your Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. You can use the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. Or if you have a thick moisturizer, you can always use that. The Weleda Skin Food. Now, she's thick. But if you have that, maybe use a little pea size of that. But those kind of consistencies are quite creamy, quite whipped and quite thick if you don't have any of like a hydrating primer. Now the next step, which is actually very specific, is to use the Hollywood Flawless Filter from Charlotte Tilbury. I would probably be the shade 7, but I only have 6 and I have 8. So no 7. What you could replace this with if you don't have the Flawless Filter, you could probably replace this with any kind of illuminating primer or any illuminating cream or anything that leaves a shimmery finish. I think that's the idea behind this. But just note that your results may differ if you don't use the exact products, that's all. But you should get a similar-ish result. Now I'm using 8 on the contours and I'm using 6 on the high points of my face. Contours are obviously where your face is naturally darker. High points is, of course, where your face is naturally lighter. Blend this in using my KVD Beauty. This is a really good brush. I believe it's their number 10, their foundation brush. This is very good. Apologies if I'm not looking at you. My mirror is, I should move my mirror. My mirror is situated here, and I just essentially blend this in with tapping motions. See what I need to mix both? Because that 6 is way too light. And of course the 8 is a little too deep. Now at this point, this is looking scary for me because this is not the kind of vibe that I'm used to. This is not the vibe I'm used to, but I'm trusting the process. All right, I'm looking adequately glazed. I'm looking like a glazed donut. The next part, which is probably my favorite. Should I zoom y'all in for this? Okay, yeah. The next part, which is my favorite, is to take a tinted moisturizer. I'm taking the Light Reflecting Foundation from NARS just because for me, this has the formula of a tinted moisturizer, but has the coverage of a foundation. It's a nice hybrid for me. I really enjoy using this. I use the shade Macao, which is the shade I use in all of my NARS foundations. I'm really sorry if the light keeps moving in and out. It's a relatively cloudy day, so, and I want this to be as true to real life. So I just put 2 pumps on the back of my hand. Someone asked me how to apply foundation with a sponge, and I just dabbed the foundation with the sponge, just like that. And then I'll go over and just bounce it all over my face. It really surprised me because it is marketed as a lighter coverage foundation, and you know, I tend to opt for medium buildable full coverage foundations, but this just looks absolutely stunning on the skin. So this is it with just the Charlotte Tilbury, and then this is it with the foundation over top. Bearing in mind I applied that with a sponge. Sponges tend to not give you the best coverage because of course a lot of the product gets absorbed back into the sponge. So if you want coverage, typically, you know, the technique is to apply with a brush. But this is just absolutely stunning. I don't mind. I have like blemishes here and on my chin, which you can kind of see a little bit of, but I don't mind too much because I'm going to use a full coverage concealer anyway. So it's not something I'm super concerned about. But if you want a bit more coverage, then definitely grab you can even grab a detailer brush, or even if you grab your sponge and just go over top of the areas where you need a bit more coverage. Loving the way my skin looks. Healthy, glowy, gorgeous. The rest of the routine is pretty straightforward, to be honest. It's just essentially how I would do the rest of my makeup. I'll show you guys how I do my face, because I know this has been a question. I did do a routine, a detailed one. Funny enough, my last Sky Cinema Club YouTube video was a detailed one, but I'll go into detail again just because this look will be more wearable. I appreciate that one was more party, more extravagant. Too Faced, and I like to put it here. I don't put too much of this. I tend to do a 2-step concealer process. That's why I wouldn't put too much of this on off the bat, because I know I'm going to go over top again with a different concealer. And see how I have some blemishes on my chin? That's why I wasn't too concerned about the foundation not covering it, because I knew I was going over top with a concealer. And that is my concealer placement for my first concealer. I'm now going to contour. My favorite bronzer is basically on its last legs. This is so good. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Wand Contour. I'm gonna see if I can get anything out of this. I doubt very much. I'm fairly sure this is like done. Really should have got a few of these, but I didn't know I was gonna love it so much. I got a few bits out. This is so Bush, but I really love this product, so I would really like to use it for one last time. Big up my Hamilton fans. No, I'm actually on a campaign. Why is all the good stuff running out and then not being on sale? Is everyone okay? So this is what the face is looking like. This is my placement. This is quite a, how do you say, old school placement. Contours around your face, bring more structure. So cheekbones, jaw, bridge of the nose I like to, because the bridge of my nose is quite flat. So if I look to the side, it's quite flat. I don't really have a bridge. So I like to put contour here just to create the illusion of a bridge there. So contours will tend to bring back, or how do I, basically add shadows to the areas that you've put the contour in. The concealer, the brightness it's the high points of your face. That's where the light is gonna hit. The light is gonna reflect off. Usual placement is under the eye. I like to put it around my mouth because I like the way that looks when it blends out. The chin, I will also take this up here just to sculpt the contours. And then here, just to add some lift to the eye. And then a little bit on my forehead to balance it out. Because if I do under my eyes and my chin, without putting any on my forehead, and my face looks a little bit unbalanced, I just put a tiny bit on my forehead just to bring some balance to my face. Let me go right ahead and blend out my contour first. Smashbox Blurring Foundation, love this. And just dab. That product is obviously very good, so it's very easy to blend out, but not all products are good. That's why it's important to have good tools, because you can almost bypass a bad product by using good tools. Forget that the product isn't as good because the tool works really well, whereas a bad tool can make a good product look very bad. And do you see why I'm obsessed with this product? very low lift, requires very, very little from you. Just dab, dab, dab. What I will say is this is an excellent tool and that is an excellent product. Even here, that just mixed in with a little bit of my concealer, oops. I don't tend to opt for a super structured nose contour. That's not really my vibe. I'm just here to add some dimension to that area of my face. That's why I just add the product here and then use the brush. Such a good brush, does all the work for you. So easy, just blend, blend. That alone has brought so much structure, which honestly needs to be brought back. When you use a tinted moisturizer, actually less so a tinted moisturizer, when you use a foundation with any type of coverage, naturally, if you're putting it all over your whole face, your contours, the structures of your face are likely to be lost. I'm just gonna take this up here to sharpen. Are likely to be lost. That's why you go over top with contour, and that's why you use highlight to bring those structures back into your face. I'm blessed, I have naturally high cheekbones, so it doesn't require as much work to get a snatched face. Some people actually try and do things to make their faces look less structured because they have a naturally already very contoured faces and contoured chisel structures. Others have more of a round face, so probably have to do a bit more to add those structures into their face. Just like when it comes to eyeshadow with hooded eyes, we have to do a bit more because we don't have a naturally defined, I say we, anyone who has, you know, hooded eyes, almond eyes, tend to do a bit more just to add those contours into our eyes. If you don't naturally have it, you need to put in more work to get it. This is the greatest brush ever, E8. I actually think this at the moment is sold out online. So if you have a Morphe near you, jump into store. This is an excellent brush. I'll show you on this side. Again, another tool that just does a lot of the work for you. I like to use dabbing motions. Swipe it up here, but do you see the difference between when I swiped it, it kind of streaked out and just leaves streaks? So that's why you dab. It just helps you have more control and just gives you more of a seamless blend. Beautiful. I also prefer to use brushes versus sponges under the eye for this first step because the blend is just so seamless. You want your first layer of base to be seamless. That's why I like working with brushes. I did use a sponge for the foundation. Coverage wasn't my priority. I just wanted an even tone. That's why I use the sponge. But if I'm going for full beat, full glamour, I will opt for a brush. Absorbs less product, keeps more of the product on your face, gives you more coverage. I don't think there's that much difference whether you apply with a brush or a sponge in terms of evenness, as long as you just dab and make sure everything's blended in. Another thing you can do if you feel that your base isn't blended, go back in with what you use to apply your foundation, whether that's a sponge or a brush, and just bounce it round. That will bring some seamlessness. I forgot to blend that contour under my nose. I forgot I put that there. That will just tie everything in together so seamlessly. What I'm going to do at this point is add a tiny bit of brightness in with my concealer. If I can find it, here we go. I like to use Creme Brulee from Uche. This is amazing. And I use a very small amount of this, and I just... Now this is the only time you'll see me applying the under eye with a sponge, because again, coverage isn't my priority. I just want to brighten that. And sometimes I will leave it to kind of set and sit, but again, not a priority today. The touch of brightness makes me just look a little bit more awake. And I just love it. I love it. And I only really focus that under the eyes. Do you see that? And do you see the lift from doing that? This base routine, guys, look how seamlessly everything is blending together. I am at this point going to add a little bit of cream blush. This one is new to me. This is Joy from Rare Beauty. I've never ever used this before, first time using it. Let's see how this goes. I'm just going to put this here just to tie, see that little gap between the highlight and the contour? That's where I'm going to put it. Blend it in with, this is a Stay, sorry, with my Made by Mitchell #4. Again, dab it. Now, if I put that on my cheek, I feel that it drags my face down. So this is the placement, quite high up on my face, literally that gap between the contour and the highlight. and then very little on the cheek, on the actual cheek. Do you see? That's it with nothing, and that's it with the blush. That's a nice color. I like that. Like that. Good pigment on black skin. This is a pretty color, and it's rare that you get a color like this. This is Joy. It's rare you get a color like this. Let me show you guys. This is quite peachy. Peach blushes like this, they don't show up too tough on black skin. I'm very impressed with that. Rare Beauty, love it. I believe that's Selena Gomez's brand. That was very nice. I'm so impressed. Maintained pigment as well, gorgeous. I did leave a little gap there intentionally just because I still want the lift in the eye. And that is what the side of the face looks like. Can you see it's a bit more blown out, a bit more blended, a bit more seamless to me anyway. And then this side, of course, is more structured. So you've got the contour, you've got the highlight. You haven't really got anything in the center that marries them together. That's the whole idea of adding blush. It just gives you a nice soft, youthful look to your face. I am already very youthful. It's my Kate Sharma. This is my Kate Sharma era. I'm not joking, you guys. Rightio, let's go right ahead and set that under eye. You guys already know what the deal is. I've been converted. I used to set my under eyes quite heavily. I'm not ashamed to say that. Quite heavily with a sponge. After a while, it was giving cakey. It was giving bakery. I didn't like that. I like a flawless under eye, but I don't necessarily like my under eyes looking dry, and I felt that they looked really dry a lot of the times. So I'm going back in with my Huda Beauty Banana Bake and the Safe Fluffy Pointed Brush. God bless Safe for making this brush. Just look. This brush, next level. Wow. Two-step setting process under the eye. I use this sparingly, okay, because I know I'm going to go back in with powder later on. I'll tell you why when I do, but I love it. Look at the difference. Soft, pretty, gorgeous. I like to look more on the matte side, so you'll see me taking it around my face. If you don't mind the healthiness pushing through, of course, don't set everything, but I have oily skin, so naturally as my makeup wears throughout the day, it's going to, you know, it's going to wear to a healthier looking finish. So I like to set. Right, now all my creams are done and I've set the under eye. This is when I hit my face with setting spray. So I like to use my Airbrush Finish from Charlotte Tilbury. You guys already know the deal. This is my favorite setting spray. It is incredible. Your makeup will look unreal the whole day. Just give it a little shake and just. Someone said that their setting spray ruins their makeup. Setting spray should not be ruining your makeup. If it is, you're probably holding it too close. The spray is coming out quite heavy, so the droplets are quite big. So that's probably what's disrupting your makeup. Try holding it back a little bit. Number two, it could just not be a very good setting spray. I like setting sprays with fine mists, just because fine mists, naturally, it's gonna mist lightly onto your face. You're not gonna get big splotches of dripping liquid all over your face. I love this Morphe Continuous Setting Mist, so good. And of course, this is my number one. I also like the Urban Decay All Nighter. Skindinavia as well, their setting sprays. This new one from Rare Beauty as well, I've not tried it. As you can tell, I got a mailer from Rare Beauty this week, so I've got a whole bunch of new products. It's a fine mist. Okay, let me try it. This is very fine. It's so fine I can barely feel it on my face. Does that even show up? Oh, very lightly, yeah. Okay, that's what that is looking like. Okay, I'm not mad at it. Now, the reason I do a two-step setting process is because after I set my face, I always feel that some of the dew that I matted out comes back, which is normal, you know, you just set your face. Some sort of liquid will come, which is why setting my face is not the last thing I do, because I like to walk out of the house looking matte. This is when I go in my Airbrush Powders from Charlotte Tilbury. You can also use, I hear so much about the Maybelline, is it the Maybelline Fit Me or the something Fit Me powder, the matte one. I hear they're incredible. I've never tried them because for the longest time, the UK stockists, so the shops in the UK that stock Maybelline, for a really long time, they didn't really stock a good collection of deeper shades. You might get one. It was only when I started getting really into makeup and then I would start going to like Sephora, Target, Walgreens, that I realized that it wasn't that the brands didn't make the deeper shades, it was that the UK market didn't buy them to sell. I would go into Walgreens, I would go into Walmart, and there would be shades. The YouTube girlies always talk about these products because they can access them. In the UK, we don't have access to the full range of shades. It's mad. So the shops can decide to sell whichever ones they want to sell. And if they don't want to sell, you know, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and they only want to sell 18 and 20, that's what they'll do. After setting, I like to go in with bronzer and I like to go in blush, and then I'll add some brightness, and that's my whole base done. I like to use the Charlotte Tilbury. Honestly, Charlotte Tilbury is really doing something. As you can see, this is very well loved. It's rubbed off, but this is deep. I also love the, again, another very well loved product, the Benefit Hula Toasted. So good, so good. I'm gonna use the Charlotte Tilbury for today just because good synergy. I've used a lot of Charlotte Tilbury today. This is the Smith 118. I feel like Vive probably have something very similar. Now with this, I just like to little sweeping motions. Now you want to keep the same seamless blend that you've had. Don't go in there all, don't do it, okay? Less is more. Tap in, sweep. Don't be afraid to really sweep it across your face. Don't be shy, sweep it across. The worst thing that will happen is you need to go over top with another product if you go heavy-handed. Do you see that? The health is pushing through. Pushing through. Bearing in mind we use a lot of hydrating products anyway, but yeah, it's really pushing through. This, guys, this is the Blush and Delights, Blush and Heights. Blush and Delights palette from Pat McGrath. This is the Bridgerton collection. This is absolutely unreal. So it comes with 4 shades. This is Champagne Venus, which is obviously like a highlight shade. And then we've got these two, the one on the left. So this is Aphrodisia. This is Budding Romance. This is Berry Brilliance. So Aphrodisia, Budding Romance, Berry Brilliance, and then Champagne Venus. This is just 10 out of 10 what dreams are made of. I'm gonna mix these two. So I'm mixing Aphrodisia and Budding Romance. Oh, guys, if you have Marion Moose's brush brand, her number 9 brush, so good actually. Probably better to apply blush because it's so small, you can be very controlled. Exact same placement, higher up in the face, and then once you've got less product, you can drag it down. No one is talking to the Sharma girls when it comes to blush. Their blush this season, absolutely stunning. Stunning, 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 unreal, unreal. Loved it. Someone said, oh, it was Pat McGrath. I said, of course it was. Because who else is doing the black girlies, brown girlies, ethnic girlies like that? Just look. This is my Kate Sharma era. No one can tell me anything about anything. The way this is touching my skin is just stunning. I'm gonna take my number 3 and my number 2. These are just 2 Airbrush Finish powders from Charlotte Tilbury. These are unreal. So this number 3 is a darker one. I like to focus it. And you see a look, that is just literally airbrushed my whole face. Unreal. Put a little bit on my forehead as well for good synergy. Morphe E48 brush again. I like to take it onto my nose just because I love the way that looks. And then my wow, just wow, like I'm just obsessed. Any angled brush, small angled brush like that, and a spoolie, that's all you need. I still use my ABH Brow Duo powder in Ebony. It's mash up, it's very well loved, okay? Get a lot of questions on brow, so I'm gonna show you. I literally just fill the tail, just draw it out a little bit. Base of the front, a few hair-like strokes. Done. Use your spoolie to brush it through if you need to, but a brow powder saves you so much work. It wouldn't be a look without adding some moles. So I'm using this new They're Real liner from Benefit. It's a liner, but I just like to add one under my nose. Like the way that looks. One here. One down here. And one over here. If you're lost on like a guide of where to put them, see, I like black. That's why it's not good to listen to people. People will be telling you not to do something. I like the way it looks. I know the moles aren't everyone's cup of tea, but they're actually really mine. I really love them. If you don't love them, that's absolutely fine. You can skip that bit. But I love the moles. I love them a lot. If you want a guide on where to put them, why I actually really started doing it was to cover up like bumps on my face. If I had a breakout, I would use it to cover it. This is the Morphe M4 M32o 3502. That took a while. This has actually been discontinued. They don't have this anymore, which brands stay discontinuing really good products. I just don't know why, but there was this tone in it. So if you have anything similar to this, and it's just one color, I used to do this all the time. I would just use this one color all over my eyelids. So I'm just gonna put it here. You could actually use, it doesn't need to be this fluffy. I don't know why I've used the fluffiest brush in the world to do this. I'm using these lashes there. They're so pretty. They are Aspen from Lily Lashes. Love these. I don't know if anyone's ever asked me for, no, that's a lie, they have. I was about to say, I'm not sure if I've been asked some tips on how to apply lashes, but I have been asked, and I've said it before, but I will say it again. I'm going to show you guys how I apply lashes. Before every lash use, just make sure you're pulling off that glue. Pull off the old lash glue with the tweezers is fine. Then make sure you pull the glue off the tweezers. Otherwise, when you go to stick the lash on your eye, the tweezer is going to stick to the lash. A good way is to do it from underneath. So just look down, find your lash line, and boom. I'm actually going to move this along to like here. Lips are very simple. I've been loving, where's the other one in fact? The new lipstick from Fenty. I use the shade Mother Lover. I think I got questions on this as well. Stunning. Anyway, lips. I like to do a two-step lip. I like to do two steps in a lot of things, as you can see. So I take Cork. This is my base color on the old lip. I don't know if any of those tricks to like make your lips look bigger actually work. My lips are already big. I've seen people do like contour-esque techniques on their lips. I like to overline slightly. I love the way that looks. Makes my lip look so plump and juicy. And then for lipstick, I will take my Mother Lover from Fenty. Stunning. I might even leave it like that. I haven't done a matte lip in a very long time, so I'm tempted to leave it like that. Use the, see the way my lip is just stunning. And I didn't do any bottom mascara. Again, I just love the way that looks. Let me bring you guys in real quick. Soft, pretty. Love, love, love. Right, let me go do my hair. Goodness gracious. Let me show you what it looks like. I actually installed this myself. The bundles are from the Lace Bar. I beat the 2019. So the frontal and the bundles are actually slightly different colors because obviously we changed the frontal on it, but the bundles are still the old bundles, so the darkness has faded. It was dyed jet black originally, so the color has faded from the bundles, but it's still very much black on the frontal. So I've just clipped it up with my claw clip. Listen, if you don't use this to straighten your hair, this Bumble and Bumble Blow Dry Accelerator BB Glow, it's so, look at the lusciousness, look at the luster, look at the luster, look at the movement. Bear in mind, I told you guys, this hair is like 3 years old. For fragrance, I'm just using Kayali Sweet Diamond. This is stunning. Very nice. And then I'm going to use my Rooker hair perfume, which smells like coconuts. I'm shocked because I always wear blush, always wear gloss, but this is the look up close. This is natural lights. This is about as close to reality as what it looks like. That was basically everything. That is the rundown of this really beautiful, soft pink. Sun just went back in again, but this really is my Kate Sharma era and no one can tell me any different. Like, absolutely obsessed. The pink blush is just, it's iconic. Like, I already look young anyway, but I just feel so pretty. I feel so pretty in this look. And this is definitely a lot more wearable than some of my other looks. So I think a lot of you guys will love it. I try to be as in-depth as possible, so I hope you found that helpful. Please let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know how you found this video. Do you want more in-depth videos like this? This is perfect for summer, perfect for holiday. Of course, use a lot less stuff, but this is like a perfect holiday evening look, holiday evening glam. With a red lip, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I think that's pretty much it for me today. Thank you so much again to Sky Cinema Club for sponsoring the beginning portion of today's video. Make sure you guys check out June. I will leave the trailer in the description box below. Let me know your book favorites. What book favorites do you have that you would love to see turn into a movie? Let's get a little chat going down below. Have you used any of today's products? Have you read any of today's books? Have you watched June? Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Bye.